John Lennon's widow Yoko Ono helped Beatles roadie's family after he was killed by police. Book. Kenneth Womack has written a new book, Living the Beatles Legend, The Untold Story of Mal Evans. Lena Cuddy was cleaning the basement of New York City publishing house G.P. Putnam's Sons when she made a shocking discovery. It was 1988, and the office temp came upon 4 boxes in a room overflowing with papers. Cuddy opened them and discovered unseen photographs of the Beatles, along with a manuscript titled, Living the Beatles Legend, or 200 Miles to Go. After investigating further, Cuddy found notebooks, diaries, a drawing by Beatles member John Lennon and an autographed color photo of Elvis Presley. There was also another drawing by Beatles member Paul McCartney. They all belonged to Malcolm "Mal" Evans, the Beatles road manager. The archives have been described as a holy grail among Beatles fans and music historians. The unearthing that would forever change the Beatles' history is chronicled in a new book by Kenneth Womack, Living the Beatles Legend, The Untold Story of Mal Evans. It's described as the first full-length biography of Evans, known as the Beatles' beloved friend, confidant and roadie. Womack, a Beatles scholar, had full access to Evans' unpublished archives and conducted hundreds of new interviews to shed light on a forgotten figure. Mal's story has always been this great mystery in the Beatle world, Womack told SSN 24 News Digital. We've all wondered about him. He's this wonderful, lovable guy with horn-rimmed glasses in all the photos. And when I received the opportunity to tell Mal's story from his family, I couldn't help saying yes. It's been a mystery we've all wanted to understand more for all these years, Womack shared. When I found out from Gary Evans, who is Mal's eldest son, that all of this material was out there, I couldn't help it. I had to do it. Womack noted that Cuddy's finding was significant because it's a detailed account of the Beatles' rise to stardom and how they cemented themselves as music icons. I've come to think of Mal as the Beatles' first historian, Womack explained. He was kind of a pack rat. He kept everything, receipts, documents, thousands of photographs, anything he could get his hands on. He recognized that there was some historical importance to their story, and that was part of the reason why he documented his thoughts in the journals and diaries that he kept. Mal recognized that something extraordinary was going on. Evans was killed in 1976 in Los Angeles. It was mere weeks from when he would submit his memoirs for publication with Grosset and Dunlap. Lena's job was to throw away old material because Putnam had purchased Grosset and Dunlap, and they were consolidating their storage room, Womack explained. She found all of this and thought, this isn't right. They're going to throw this stuff away. Worried Evans' personal archives would be tossed away, Cuddy marched down to the Dakota where Yoko Ono, Lennon's widow, lived. She went uptown and left a note, said Womack. She said, "You've got to do something, this guy worked for you." And Yoko didn't miss a beat. According to Womack, it was Ono who, after reading Cuddy's note, immediately contacted Neil Aspinall, Evans' former counterpart in the band's circle. In 1976, he was appointed executive director of Apple, the Beatles' holding company. She urged Aspinall, "We've got to do something about this." That day she got the lawyers going, Womack explained. And under Yoko's guidance, they got that material to Mal's family like that. They'd been waiting 12 years. They didn't know where it was. And it's amazing that it's not in a landfill today. Yoko provided Mal's family with this legacy. They had lost their dad in this incredible moment that was confusing for them. They didn't quite understand what happened. Suddenly, they had, at least, all of his effects to be able to think about him, remember the good stuff. Yoko made that possible. According to the book, Ono met with Evans' loved ones in 1989 and shared a tearful embrace. Ono, whose husband was murdered in 1980, knew how hurtful it was to lose a loved one so suddenly. "I've studied her most of my life," said Womack. "I know that the Beatles family was important to her. And she knew how important Mal was to John. She was certainly honoring her late husband. But we've seen many examples that often aren't publicized in the decades since the Beatles' demise and the loss of her husband where she has stepped up. There are numerous examples where she unselfishly stepped up and helped out. I think Mal would get a lot of pleasure out of this, too," Womack shared. He liked Yoko and really was concerned for her quite early on when he could tell she was being vilified. And he felt that was unfair. During his time with the Beatles, Evans was a devoted jack of all trades.